to a different spirit altogether. So I just wanted to be very clear.
Mr. Deshmukh is being a true hotelier because he is in Gujarat, in Vadodara, and it's known for vegetarian food now. So
yes, so I can understand. Being a Deshmukh, he also is possibly, sort of limiting his spirit and all.
No. I said you can also enjoy vegetarian food. You don't have to necessarily, only enjoy non-vegetarian food. So, right. So there's enough variety, and I think there's lots that happens there as well.
All right.
Are we now live?
So we are live, so let's go.
Let's start. Bhumika and Chavi, you're ready. Yes, ma'am. On a count of 1, 2, and 3. Thank you all again for joining us. Yes, let's start.
A very good evening to everyone. We, the students of BBA in Hospitality and Facilities Management, Pumba, heartily welcome all our eminent speakers and attendees to our course orientation program. Savitribai Phule Pune University is among the top 10 universities in India. It is a matter of great pride that the Department of Management Sciences, Pumba, has also successfully completed 50 glorious years in management education and continues its legacy of building leaders. BBA in Hospitality and Facilities Management, Pumba, is a 3 years undergraduate course under SPPU.
Today, in the course orientation program, we are delighted to have with us 3 eminent guests from different sectors to share their insights. We have with us Mr. Lakshman Kandarpa, Chief Retail Officer at MedPlus Health Services Private Limited. Mr. Lakshman has managed multiple states across India for a set of highly exciting and reputable retail brands like MedPlus, More, Big Bazaar, and Arvind Bazaar. Next, we have Mr. Avinash Deshmukh, General Manager, Welcome Hotel, Vadodara. Sir is a senior industry professional with decades of working in ITC Welcome properties across India. We also have with us Dr. Shakti Chauhan, Country Head, Administration, Facilities, Security and Hospitality at HDFC Bank. Sir has an experience of over 25 years in managing P&L, setting up and growing with ITs, BPO, banking, retail and telecommunication companies. We are very glad to have you all with us today. Now, I would like to request Dr. Deepa Prasad Venkatraman, Course Coordinator of BBA in Hospitalities and Facilities Management, Pumba, to take over the session.
Thank you so much, Bhumika and Chavi, for the warm introduction. Welcome everyone to Pune University, called now Savitribai Phule Pune University. A very good evening and welcome on behalf of our Director of SPPU School of Business, Dr. Prafulla Pawar, our HOD of Pumba, Dr. Jain, to all our esteemed corporate speakers, Mr. Lakshman Kandarpa, Chief Retail Officer, MedPlus, Mr. Avinash Deshmukh, welcome sir, General Manager, Welcome Hotel, ITC Vadodara, Mr. Shakti Chauhan, Country Head Facilities, HDFC Bank. Today, our program is to give insight into our curriculum for our prospective students, as well as audience and parents for this unique program, which we commenced in 2018, which has a very strong focus on business administration and management, and therefore the name BBA, and exposure to core service sector, such as retail, facility, and hospitality, and therefore we are called BBA HFM. Our curriculum, just to give you a very brief overview, is for 3 years and it's divided into 6 semesters. Every semester has 6 subjects, which are based on choice-based credit system. And 4 subjects are of management and administration, and 2 subjects are of course service sector, HFM. The uniqueness of this undergrad program or graduate program of business administration, which we felt when it was designed, was that in the second year, our students in the later half, which we call the 4th semester, they go for internship into sectors such as yours, a retail or a facility or a hospitality sector. And furthermore, in the final year, they specialize in research and take up a topic during their project work other than their regular curriculum. We pride ourselves, other than academic rigor, what we feel will be a holistic development of a management student at a graduate level. And this is definitely its co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And there are a plethora of things that we do with them through our various, we call them cells or a small community which they work, as well as their interaction with the Pumba MBA students. So today when we invite, we're very, very delighted to have the corporate speakers, because we are looking at you giving a perspective of a graduate program. How does it complement the service sector from which you come from? And this will give an idea to students who are waiting to join a curriculum like such as ours or have already joined. It will strengthen the resolve on what steps they have to take in the 3 years of their journey with us before they join the industry. So I'd like to begin now. We will have a little bit of the insight into each of the sector. I'd like to invite first Mr. Lakshman Kandarpa to speak to us about retail. And I'm really delighted, since he's such a tall figure for more than a decade in retail, and for him coming and telling us that how we can imbibe our graduate values with this sector is something we're looking forward to. Over to you, Mr. Lakshman Kandar.
Thank you, Dr. Deepa, for that very nice words. First thing first is, yeah, I think I've aged a little more than 1 decade. It's been 2.5 decades of life in retail. And,
so you're not very clear. I think you'll have to be a little louder.
Okay, just a second. Am I audible? Is it better?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, it's better. We can hear you.
Good. Great. So I was saying, yeah, it's been more than a decade. It's been 2.5 decades of life in retail. And I have been one of those lesser fortunate students who didn't get a chance to prepare well, become a good professional into retail industry like most of your students currently get a chance to. So we are from a generation that have had to learn everything by work, by practice. We haven't been as privileged as the students of Pumba are. So let me take you through and give you a sneak peek into what retail is about. We are today in 2021, and just about 10 years back, the size of Indian retail was just $365 billion. As we speak now, we are already at $1,200 billion. So you see the exponential growth that retail sector has been seeing. And there are quite many factors that have been laid down. Some of this are through the policy. Some of these are on account of what we are as Indians, and a lot of it is about the world becoming flat and the exposure that we as India have now to the rest of the world. So retail is now expected to be a 1.7 trillion US dollars by 2026 in India. So that's where Indian retail is poised to get to. Even in terms of employment, which will be of great interest to most of the students here, it is expected to employ about 45 to 50 million Indians. And Indian retail is going to contribute to 40% of the overall consumption of Indian market. That is the organized sector. My view is it has benefited a lot from some of the simple policy matters, which is about opening up FDI into online retail. We have seen 3.4 billion US dollars coming in as of December 2020. And this, we all know We've seen retail already evolve to a certain level of maturity in those larger cosmopolitan metropolitan cities. But the real pot of gold in India is in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and that's largely unexplored even as in 2021. So India is one of the fastest growing retail markets in the world, and it is only fueled and enabled by the young demographic of our country, which averages 39 years of age. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. Some of you as customers would have experienced retail in various forms. Retail is a very large encompassing word which covers various channels for purchase, which could be departmental stores, supermarkets, discount stores, online, vending machines, direct marketing, franchising, etc. And these cover product categories including food and grocery, apparel, footwear, jewelry, pharmacy, which I am currently a part of, toys, electronics, and home needs, and so on and so forth. So all in all, my 2 cents on or my view on retail growth for future is that it is absolute certainty. There is an absolute certainty for growth. There is a huge challenge, I would say, right now for the capability of professionals being ready for the growth, and that is where I think organizations like Pumba play a very, very vital role. And it is going to change the shape of our economy. And I believe professional training, we can't reinvent the wheel. I mean, that's really what I've been doing for the last 2.5 decades. Okay, we try to learn what the Western concepts are, but I think there is enough retail exposure in India, enough retail professionalism in India, using which students of colleges like Pumba don't have to start from step one, and that is what excites me about today's interaction. Over to you, Deepak.
Can we have the next speaker, next guest? Maybe Mr. Deshmukh, Dr. Chauhan, about your sector, how it stands today?
Okay, you want to speak, Avinash?
No, you go ahead, please. Absolutely.
Okay. So, guys, first of all, good afternoon, and thank you so much for having us here. It's such a pleasure to speak in such an august, company of all the, experienced speakers and educationalists, I would say. This is certainly a privilege when we have students who could be trained for, hospitality, facilities, administrations, and so on and so forth. So, as rightly started by Lakshman, is that we had learned our lessons by just banging our head to different problems, and here you get something, a curriculum, which is designed by best people who have learned different things in retail, telecom, IT, banking, and you so on and so forth. So congratulations to each and every student, first of all, who wish to choose this as a program, and or who wants to understand this more in terms of how they can contribute to the country's growth. And the second congratulations is about you selecting this specific program. Uh, in many of my interviews and in columns and wherever I write and I speak, I say one thing very prominently in India is that we majorly focus across in creating infrastructure. We majorly focus about creating new dimensions of any infrastructure we talk about, your hospitals and airports and any other facilities on the IT, new smart cities and roads and transportation, anything and everything. But we don't have that much of focus about creating a skilled manpower, maintaining those things, those capex focus which we are creating across. So you pick up any ministry which talks about the growth factor. No one talks about how that growth will be maintained, because if you don't have a proper effective utilization of the capex you spend, the the spend you do, I think we cannot justify the growth overall as a country, as an industry, both way. So these program like Pumba, first of all, congratulations for starting something and at least thinking in that direction. And secondly, I think it is a good idea of you coming up with someone like Chris, the Council for Realty Infrastructure and Services Promotion. They have, the people who are of that mindset, who have been instrumental in setting up facility management administration in the biggest companies of India and globally as well. They come up with their inputs and give them the best of education and in view in terms of where they are heading to. So, I will definitely not talk about retail. My retail journey started in 1999 when possibly I was the first mall came up in North Delhi's Ansal Plaza, and I was in the setting up team. It was some really spirited contribution, and from there we have grown in terms of how organized retail have come up. When we talk about specific to facilities management, I think it is to do more about how we set up, uh, how we maintain those setup has been done, across the industries. I would say I will not be specific to hospitality, retail, telecom, or anything, but across the boundaries. And at the same time, let me clarify one thing. Can you please put it on the speaker off? It's echoing. Yeah, thank you. So the let me clarify one thing is, after farming is one of the major employment source for country across the country, because this is applicable in small town, small village, to the biggest of the organized places as well. So first is farming, and then second factor which contributes in employment or employing people is majorly the facilities management. So that's a vast subject. And we talk about a problem normally in India is there is a lot of unemployment. If you ask me literally, there is no problem about, India does not have a problem of unemployment. India have a problem of unemployable people. So we have a sufficient people, who are even educated enough, but they are not employable. And this is something which Pumba is creating, bridging this gap. And believe me, this will be something really exciting to see people shape up their career, because in most people like us who have come from either defense forces or learn their experiences and can have grown from the ranks, have have those not very structured way of growth. But when we have a diploma and a degree 3-year program which talks about how these things will be set up and taken up, I think this will give them a very bright future. So, facility management, and I say how it will give advantage to them. For for anyone who will pick up this as a course, they will understand first of all what is the role of facilities management in this, because the curriculum has been all agreed by people who've been in this industry. You will have a very clear view as a facility manager about how you will have to be a contributor, talk to different stakeholders. It could be your housekeeping, your electromechanical work, your other civil work, your security team, your front office, your hospitality, and everyone. And you be a conduit in terms of how this can take to the best of organization's objective, how you can contribute to overall not only in profitability, but create a better and sustained customer experiences in whatever company you're working with. So facility management is not just a function, but it is a backbone of any organization. So if any organization you talk about your power infrastructure, your all the buildings and setups, and you talk about all the electromechanical assets, and anything and everything is managed by facility management team. And if there is any breakdown to anything, let's say server room, the credibility of the entire building is on, or the organization is on a stake. I don't want to name some organization, but because of something poor on their infrastructure, they have been penalized by big organizations. Just because, let's say, if you want to outsource a work of a BPO, let's say if it is British Telecom or British Airways, let's say they want to set up a BPO in some place, they will first thing do a proper audit of on how robust the infrastructure is, and that will be the basic step in terms of providing and taking a decision whether they can really outsource. So any industry, you take an example, you talk about hospitality, airport, even education centers, IT companies, retail, anything and everything. Retail you talk about. If your facility team is not quick enough to give you sustained solution, and your equipments are not working in the store, you will as a customer not walk into those stores. Or if you delay for 2 days, 3 days in sort of resolving their problems, store manager will not be able to achieve any of their targets. So this team of facility management is very, very, very important in terms of how they sort of have a proper contribution to overall organization's growth. So that's about facility management. That's about the role of facility manager. That's about the scope people can look up, and that's about a career you can build. This is an organization, this is a field, this is a skill which will take you a long way about how you can grow in your life. You may find people who are acquiring assets and hiring new offices, they will have a limited role, but the facility management team will have a role till the time you are locking out, selling the property, and handing over to the landlord. So you will be the last person to leave the organization in case something even goes wrong. So your role is that important. It's like you are the heartbeat of any organization. So think on that perspective and on that parameter, is that this is something which is more forward looking. This is something where you can really grow your skill, and how you go to next level, how you go to in utilizing your technology, your all that artificial intelligence, your machine learning, how it will help you, how you take all the aware decision about facility management, not that you always follow the traditional approach. How you can just be smart enough in knowing the benchmarking in the industry, so that whatever spend you are doing is pretty much within the parameters and limitations. How you can create a budget which is self-sustained, which is turbulence free for the year, so that overall business team can really contribute in what they're supposed to in a literal terms, what is their core business. And that's the role and that's the importance of facility management. I will be happy, delighted to answer any specific question. But that subject really is very. I'm very passionate about how I have learned facility management over a period of time. In fact, my research paper talks about the cost of facility management. Facility management cost impact on operating retail stores more than 10,000 square foot area in more of an Indian perspective. So I'm the only person possibly have taken research on facility management and retail in India. Uh, any specific questions will be definitely delighted to answer. But that's my input, and I wish everyone a wonderful career. And I'm very, very optimistic about you guys creating an absolute wonderful career for yourself. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Dr. Chauhan. That was really very encouraging. Employability is important. And like Mr. Lakshman spoke before you, these sectors are really growing exponentially. Talking about hotels, we now invite Mr. Deshmukh. Sir, please, about hospitality sector.
Thank you at the outset for giving me this opportunity to connect with all of you. It's really heartening to see a lot of younger. Am I audible? Sorry.
Yes, Avinash, you are pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
Am I audible?
You're audible,
Okay.
but maybe Mr. Deshmukh, a little bit louder, you can speak.
Okay. All right. So at the outset, thank you very much once again for having me on this interaction. It's really nice to be able to speak to some of our younger, aspirants who are looking towards hospitality and retail and facilities as a prospective career. Sorry, am I audible now?
Pretty much audible, Avinash. Please
yes,
go on.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I think firstly I must commend Pune University on this course that they have put together, which is I think a very interesting offering, because it does combine aspects of facility management, hospitality, and retail, along with the management sciences that are always relevant to every industry that one gets into, and sort of offer an option for people to make up their minds while they are in the course of learning, and then get exposure to the industry, and then be able to decide what they want to do. because I think there is definitely the possibility of somebody joining with a certain idea in his mind, and then discovering down the line that their interests probably are lying elsewhere, in the sense that something close to but not quite what they set out to do, and that is completely normal and that's completely acceptable. At a certain age that you are in, that all of you are in right now, having just completed your 12th, I don't think a lot of people are very, very clear in their minds as to what skill sets and strengths they possess, and then how they should take it forward and get into some sort of a professional course or something which gives them the way forward. So being able to learn, being able to evolve as a person, understand what your strengths are, and understand where you see yourself fitting in is something that does evolve over a period of time. And I think the 3-year course will give you that chance to explore different avenues, and then make up your mind. And I think the 6-month industry interface that has been put together will certainly be very helpful in shaping your final decisions, or even your thoughts going forward. So coming back to the hospitality industry, I don't think actually it needs much introduction. We do interact with hotels and restaurants in all forms and all formats in our daily lives in many ways, and so we ourselves use them. We have friends and family who are using them or involved with them in some way or the other. So the business needs no introduction. And I think after hearing Dr. Chauhan and Mr. Kandarpa as well, I thought there are aspects of retail and facilities which get combined into hospitality. So hospitality is really sort of an amalgamation of a bit of facility management, a bit of retail, and of course core skills as hoteliers have and possess. So it's really about the business where it's very people centric, it's very people oriented business. There are people on this side of the line, and there are people on that side of the line, and then the whole interplay is really about interacting with people and ensuring that people get what they expect from an establishment. And then your role, wherever you are placed, is to be the spokesperson and to be the executor of that that job or that task, which eventually fulfills a certain need that the client or the customer has. So hospitality is very people centric, is very people driven, and is eventually the success in the business here is all about understanding yourself and understanding your role and being very clear, and applying yourself to execute your tasks. The business has currently, of course, in the context of the last 1.5 years, seen a huge impact from the pandemic, but hospitality is as old as I think the world is, and I think going forward we will just bounce back and come back even stronger. Even during the pandemic, I think certain sectors of the hospitality business, like the leisure circuits, the hotels and establishments in the leisure centers are doing extremely well. Apart from the times when there's a lockdown, the hotels in the leisure centers are doing well and are getting a lot of traction. I'm hearing of hotels which have actually done better than the previous years. Whenever the lockdowns have been lifted and hotels have been able to function. So in terms of viability, I think the business is as old as time was, time is, and in terms of the skill sets required, it's really a people-oriented business, and the entire purpose is to understand yourself and how you relate to people, and then really define. Now there are different streams, of course. There is the front office, there is the food and beverage division, there is the culinary, the food production division, and there is the housekeeping division. So depending on where your interests lie and what you feel is your calling, you can apply to any of these. There's also finance. There's also engineering, which is part of hospitality. So it's really an amalgamation of various skill sets, and there is opportunity for somebody who has the attitude and the aptitude to take it on and move forward. Yes, of course, the industry does come with certain requirements which are prerequisites. the ability to work long hours is a prerequisite. I think if you're a 9 to 5 kind of a person, then our business is not really the business for you. But if you're somebody who gets involved with the job, is passionate, and is willing to put in that extra effort, then I think the business does reward you with a lot as you go down the line, and become more responsible, and as you acquire seniority. So in a nutshell, I think it's an arm which has an amalgamation of retail. It has an amalgamation of the facility, skill sets, and of course core skill sets which hospitality requires. And if somebody has the ability and the aptitude, I think this is a great career option, and it will certainly reward you the more you sort of give it. The more you give it, the more I think will come back to you. So that is really what I would like to put out. I've had a long stint with the business. In fact, 26 years now and counting, and I think it's been rewarding. I think it's been enriching. You'll get to learn, you get to meet people, you get to interact with people of different spheres. People who are at different positions. You're able to understand what they do and how they go about their businesses. So it's also very interesting. It's also like a microcosm of life itself. You're meeting people, and the entire cycle is actually covered. You're meeting who are producers, you're meeting who are consumers, you're meeting people who are the people who enable, and so on. So it's all in all a very interesting space to be in, and it is very rewarding. With more time and more efforts that you are able to give in, and sky is the limit, really. We've heard of chefs who have scaled immense heights. We've heard of managers who have who are running large hotel empires. We've heard of housekeepers who've gone on to become facility heads at various levels. We've also heard of people in food and beverage getting into retail, getting into restauranting on their own, becoming entrepreneurs. So the industry does actually prepare you to not just continue with the hotel business, as it were. It also prepares you to get into other allied businesses like retail and like facilities. And I've known lots of people who actually make the switch after spending 5, 10, 15 years with hotels and restaurants. And so I think it's really an interesting field that you can aspire to be in. And like I said earlier, the sky is the limit in case you're able to understand what makes things tick, and then take it forward from there. So that's what I would like to start out with. And if there are definite questions and specific questions, then certainly we'll be happy to answer those. Back to you, Deepa.
Yeah. Thank you
Yes.
so much for the amazing insight coming from all the three corporate leaders, Mr. Kandarpa, Dr. Chauhan, and Dr. Deshmukh. It's really heartening to know, because the service sector has grown leaps and bounds in the last couple of decades, and we worked our way up. And you've seen it all. You've seen the growth, and therefore, with adaptability to the new norms of the corporate norms, courses must also adapt and give the right competency and skills to the students, so that they get, they are in the right threshold before they go into the corporate world. And that's one of the reasons for us doing our course Insight, Curriculum Insight with you all, and having a talk with the industry. So thank you so much. It's very heartwarming to know that all the three sectors are absolutely growing dynamically, and there's only one way up. And there is so much of not just employability, but there are so many avenues, further avenues in each of these sectors. To continue the dialogue with three of you all, I like to hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Prabhu, who will ask certain pertinent questions on how we can blend our curriculum activities with your sectors. Yes, over to you, Dr. Prabhu.
Yes, we're coming with the second question now. Our BBA program, which obviously has a lot of structured inputs which are given towards retail and facility and hospitality. And we also provide a lot of hardcore business management subjects, particularly HRM, marketing, TQM, economics, statistics, research, supply chain, and many more. In your opinion, since you have come up to the management, top management level, important do you think is giving students management competency in order to enhance their operational abilities? It's over. The question is open to all three of you. Whoever would like to go first.
Okay, so let me give my point of view on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think I totally relate to what Dr. Shakti and Dr. Avinash mentioned. But we coming from a generation where we weren't privileged to have a mix of best of both the worlds. So even if you see right now, what are options available for students of class 12? They get into a very specialized, very niche hotel management kind of colleges, which will teach them a lot of specialization. You choose a career, but then that's where it starts and ends. I mean, there's no emphasis on anything beyond. They don't train you to become a manager. And then you have another set of, the better premier MBA, BBA colleges, which teach and preach and make convince all the students that they are just bound to graduate and become the next general manager of the organization they choose to join. Unfortunately, the world outside is not as simple as that, and I see from the industry perspective a huge shortage of people with the skill and will. Okay, that I think, of course, like yours, um, considering the fact that it is coming from Pumba, which is part of a Pune University. You're already one of the top 3 colleges in Maharashtra. So it's great pedigree and also an orientation which gets them to see the big picture and yet stay grounded. I think that's the beauty of the curriculum that I see, and glad I was very pleasantly surprised to know about this curriculum when Dr. Deepa took me through it. I think it has a great blend. The fact that you also have a 20-week internship, and you have a project that will also give them a far more closer view of what the industry is. Okay. They may pursue BBA they may follow up a BBA with an MBA or whatever, but trust me, having done multiple campus recruitments, I so look forward to people who have the will to be on the shop floor. Because when you go into an MBA school, college, they're waiting for the desktop to be given and they want that white collar job. But getting students with a strong foundation, having worked in the shop floor, having studied about retail or facility management and hospitality, which is the USP of your course, I think they will be far more grounded and more prepared to take on this world than the other two. That's really my view of this.
Someone like to add, Dr. Chauhan, Mr. Deshmukh, would you like to add to the skill and will of the BBA graduates?
Yeah, definitely. If you literally, I wish to add to what Lakshman just clarified. It cannot be just a syllabus which we only study in the books. So it's very aptly included as a 20 weeks program on internship, because what will be prepared from, in terms of the curriculum to not only understand, but how they will implement, and what are the impact part of that post implementation thing. Well, they will interact with all the industry people, with different corporates and all. They will have a feel on ground, like, hospitality. The interns have been really taken through that rough trainings to just make a hospital, or hotel management graduates, and they really pick up those understanding of that, what is going to happen to them late tomorrow, in future. Similarly, in facility management also, when they understand, their role, they will be more productive in what they do. Then will be, on unnecessary disturbances they may find, as which could be impediment to their career growth. So it is about deciding, it is about being more alert, agile, and aware about how they will take up their career. So the skill part, of course, they can learn. And one thing I want to clarify everyone is that this 3-year program is not about creating engineers. So a facility manager will not be an engineer. He may have some understanding of engineering. He may have some understanding of security. He may have some understanding of hospitality or housekeeping or some other thing, because he will be a manager. He will not be literally an engineer repairing or supporting a DG set or a vertical transportation, anything. So the curriculum really decides about being a person who could, as I said earlier, to a conduit wherein he can deal with all the stakeholder, bring in a proper justification to all the work done. He can create an algorithm wherein he is aware and taking decision which are more sustainable and effective for the organization, and that is what will be more effective to see and learn in any course. Most of the time that is what lack. And I think with all aware contribution from different people, this is on a right course in terms of how they can be more effective and be sustainable also in that growth.
That's so true, sir. Absolutely. And in fact, you touched upon the internship, which would be my next question. But before that, Mr. Deshmukh.
Yeah, I just in fact would like to only substantiate what has already been said. I think skill and will both are extremely critical in making a way forward. One should not have any assumptions that the minute you finish the course, you're getting into something which is in a sense very predetermined and so on. One has to actually make one's way, and then one has to learn the skills, and then and then display the right aptitude and the attitude, so that you start making that progress. So core skills are very, very important, whether it's any of the functions of the hotel, whether it's housekeeping or front desk or the kitchens. Core skills are very, very important. The minute you're able to master those and are able to display them with consistency for a certain period of time, is when you will start seeing results and also upward progression. So, and that's what really creates the foundation and the base on which then you build further. So core skills very, very important, and all the more so in our business, and I think especially true as well of facilities and retail as well. So just wanted to substantiate on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you, all three of you. And we're moving to one of the very, very important aspects of the course, which is field experience, industry experience. So in BBA, in the 4th semester, we have a 20 weeks internship program where students get to train at a retail outlet, at a facility management company, and a hotel. Also, in the 6th semester, we have the research project, which is in a specialized field of study, which we take very seriously, and it is real learning. And today, everything is about market research, as we know. So what I want to ask you, gentlemen, is, in your opinion, what is the relevance and importance of such field work for the students, and how seriously they should be taking it? Dr. Chauhan mentioned that it brings to you agility and alertness and awareness, but would you like to share your thoughts about this real-time experience during the 3-year degree program?
Yeah, so let's relate it in a more practical term. If you want to learn playing a sword, you know then till the time you literally go on a field and use that with absolute spirit, you will then only know that how trained you are and how effective you are in that skill. It could be anyone, anything. You take a cooking lesson on a YouTube or something, but till the time you cook on the platform and then see the result, then only you will be able to justify your skills and the hard work you have done. It is similar for facility management or any other field. If you've learned something in the books, and if you practically implement that on ground and see the results, it's really contributing or the spirit is in the same way. Are you really able to create that impact? Is your contribution is more on the team part, or it is more an individual part? Is your what you're doing has really some meaning to overall contribution of the organization? All that will happen when you really implement things. And when you implement thing, I think the advantage to all these people about having this internship training is going to be the game changer. Literally, I'll give you an example. In my previous organization, when I was working with Reliance Retail, uh, we had a challenge of, and this is a idea which I gave to people. We had a challenge, especially for 4 months. In the summertime, the consumption of electricity goes over the roof. The breaking down of equipments goes 4 to 5 times in a normal scenario. You have same team managing everything. So about 5-6 thousand stores in India, everyone on the run. Everything they want, absolute hunky dory. When store is open, they want everything to be working perfectly. But then how it will happen? You are not having a freedom of hiring a fleet or army of people to manage everything. So what we decided is, okay, we will take some people from engineering background and someone who's going for a final year, 6 month, 3 month courses. And we only specific skill we kind of give them to support in this 3-4 months. We give them a stipend, and at the same time, these 4 months have been managed for those people. First year when we introduced, we could only get about 20-25 people in about 4 or 5 cities. The second year, when people really understood the requirement, we got almost about 300 plus nomination. We said no, we will only take 100 people, and we fixed those 100 people. After that, the biggest college like SRM and all those came to us, is that okay, we want to send people, every year. Let's go for an agreement, because it is more practical. Anyone who's gone through the 3 or 4 months of training, immediately after their graduation, they were picked by big bazaar, all the Spencers and Reliance mostly were even taken by my own team, my own regional heads. So because they were all hands-on, pretty much understanding, next day they will start be very effective. Similarly, if someone who goes through the internship program and understand practical part, he can start. His meter of contribution starts from the next day, and that's what the change you are bringing in, kind of introducing this.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the internship, exposure to shop floor, getting to experiencing things like Dr. Shakti said, it's one thing to learn about how to do it, and other much and more important thing is to
Yes,
do it
Sanket. Sanket.
on hands-on. Internship is amazingly good for both the student and for the industry. Let me cover the student part first. I think the students will, for the first time, be able to relate to what they study, see it live, experience it. They should also be realistic and practical about what to expect. They would be seeing it from ground zero. They would experience the industry at a ground zero level. Get a very, very rare but very important opportunity to meet with the leaders, interact with them, understand how things work in the field. So it's a great opportunity for these students, and it also kind of acts as a leveler for people to match with their expectations with what reality of professional life is. From an industry perspective, I mentioned this earlier, I'll repeat again. Whenever we look for recruiting managers, we look at management bandwidth to be enhanced in any organization. There is a severe dearth of people who know the basics. So organizations spend a lot of time and money in training them the basics. So if Pumba gives us students who have their exposure, basic exposure to retail, I think it's a great starting point for the organization, and they would definitely stand a higher privilege or a higher advantage as a part of campus recruitments, be it after BBA or after MBA.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, yes, indeed. And Mr.
Yeah.
Deshmukh, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think the industry exposure stint of 6 months is actually, to my mind, a very critical aspect of the entire program, and I think it really helps to bring home the realities of what industry is all about. And you studied for 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years, and then you're going into an industry situation. That's the time to actually put to test your theories in terms of what you have in your mind in terms of what to expect from the industry, and it's also a time to understand whether you're really cut out for what the industry entails. And sometimes it I think also helps people to make up their minds, that at times it tells them that they are probably not in the right space, or not in the right maybe department or division, and helps them to also sort of make up their minds on these aspects. On the other hand, on the other side, it helps people to sort of consolidate and really help them also understand what really drives them, and whether for example in a hotel it's the kitchen or the front office. There are people who are oriented towards the kitchen, and therefore they find that this is their calling, and it's a good chance for them to sort of build on that further. And then similarly, people who are in who like interaction and meeting and assisting people, like the front office. So it really helps. The 6 month industry exposure actually is a great time to understand where you are, and how you are placed and what your strengths are, and then start relating to the tasks accordingly. So I think it's a matter or a time for great learning. And I think I remember my industry exposure. I think it was a complete shocker in the first few weeks, because what you learn theoretically and what you actually experience are two entirely different things. But after the fourth or fifth week, I actually began to start enjoying certain aspects of it, and then you do find your calling. You do understand where your strengths lie, and then you sort of start connecting with that aspect, and then you dig deeper. It's a great time to actually understand how things work. It's important at that time to keep your eyes and ears open, and to be useful to the area that you've been given to work in. Help with very very small basic things, so that sort of opens up more possibilities. People who you are reporting to are typically junior or mid-level people. You're not really going to be attached to a manager or a department head to start working. You'll essentially be working with somebody who's either a junior level employee or a mid-level employee. So the sooner you're able to connect with what he does and sort of pitch in with what he's requiring, they will start relating to you. They will start trusting you with a lot more. And the best thing in the 6 month training is to be actually be able to contribute in a certain way to the department that you're assigned. And if you can, I've seen trainees who leave, and people really miss their presence. And there are trainees who leave, and people don't really, nothing changes. So I think if you're able to connect in that sense, you really will sort of understand what works for you, and then what are your interests, and where should you and how should you take things forward. So it's a great time. It's an eye opener in many ways, and it's also a very decisive phase in your in that course. So I think approaching that 6 month training with a lot of intent and a lot of purpose is very important. And it's a time that you must actually use well. That would be my advice.
Absolutely, that's the time they should really use very well the 6 months internship. In fact, like you said very correctly, all three of you mentioned that that's the time during training that our students get the clarity of what they enjoy doing, and they can further consolidate on that clarity, work on their specialization in the third year, do a lot of research work, and then join the field. It absolutely is a great transition. Another thing I'd like to add here is, like Mr. Deshmukh mentioned, we try to also keep revisiting our syllabus and curriculum to keep it relevant, to keep it closest to the industry, because industry changes much faster, and we also try to match that with our curriculum that we are teaching, so that the gap is minimized. Moving to the last question, and the most important questions that our students would want to know is, what are the prospects, after completion of BBA in hospitality and facilities management? What are the career prospects for fresh graduate? What are the skills, and what is the advice you'd like to leave us with?
Can I just contribute? I need to leave. It is just getting into something. Uh, I think on. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hear Deepa, ma'am.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay, great. So I think when it comes to facilities management, if you are a BBA program to start with, you could be at least starting in some of those reputed organizations to have, because you would be preferred than anyone who is coming from a different field in a specific department like facility administrations and hospitality part. So you would of course be given that specific advantage. uh, Career progression will depend on your skill and will, as most of us contributed, is like how seriously you take, and you how much of risk you take in about learning new things and implementing new ideas. The third part is, of course, this program will set you aside as a specialized person. Like an electrical engineer is preferred for electrician as an electrical role. Similarly, in a facility management, which is like in every big company, in every company you would find, will be preferred as a facility manager's role. As a and to start with, you possibly may start with an executive, senior executive, assistant manager roles. Not only in the organizations, there are some international facility management companies like Jones and Ingersoll, CBRE, Cushman Wakefield, Sodexo, ISS, CB. There's so many of them which are having they are a global organization with over 600 years of established records. So not only that India level, you have a career progression which can span from managing to India to Asia Pacific and globally. I can take many names who have grown, managing these smaller fields and grown to bigger levels. Uh, if your appetite and your this thing is great enough, of course there is no limit in terms of what you can contribute and what you can grow to. I've seen people like us who have not been, I'm a commerce graduate, started with the Indian Air Force, coming back to facility, and doing MBA in something, and doing all this is like all zigzag way reaching here. These students who have a very clear path with the skill training, they know that where they can then lead to is of course a shorter way to grow to higher heights. So the one thing is, of course, no shortcut to experience. You would of course have to gain through those maturity and understanding about team management and all. You should or you must add those skills and qualifications wherever required. But then this gives you a huge opportunity. And especially about if you plan to have your own employment, or sorry, plan to work with an organization. At the same time, if you want to start a resource company, facility management company, or any housekeeping company, and an entrepreneurship in terms of your way of taking life will also help in that, because you have gone through that 6 month training. You have an ab initio understanding of how a structured corporate will be, where will be the focus, where will be the focus on spend and effectiveness and anything and everything. So I think these are something which are good enough for them to be motivated to take up this role.
Thank you, Mr. Chauhan. I think that was like very pointed competency skills. I think across all sectors, if Mr. Kandarpa and Mr. Deshmukh will agree, which helps our students. And I think we are heartwarmed. It's a feedback which we would definitely like to give our management to while in our curriculum deployment, the competencies which are required in a service sector.
Absolutely. And I think Dr. Shakti Chauhan has kind of encapsulated very well. Career opportunities will always be there. As I'm now talking for retail sector, you people graduating from a BBA course like yours should expect to join in retail under what we call typically a retail leadership program. And if they follow it up with an MBA and depending on which college they pass out from, they could be considered joining for a retail leadership, retail management program. So it depends on when you want to join the bandwagon of employment. But what it surely will do will give them an edge because of what they've studied and what they've got exposed to as part of their internship. It definitely gives them a higher edge compared to any other BBA or MBA colleges. That's my view.
Yeah, I think this is taking it forward from what was said earlier. this course seems to have been very thoughtfully put together, and I think it combines the management lessons as well as sector-specific lessons on hospitality and on facilities and retail. And of course, there are a lot of commonalities, so I think there is certain common ground. But yes, there is, I think, focus on core skills as well for specifics in hospitality. And I think the option is there with the students to choose what they would like, to sort of
Yes.
specialize or pursue in further. So that's a good thing. So I think this course has probably come together with learnings from what has been done in the past, and I think it's been improvised and worked upon further. So I think it sounds like a good option to pursue. Because it gives you the chance to look at these industries as well as at the end of the course to look at also pursuing an MBA going further. So I think the options are in that sense not just not getting limited; they're actually getting further enhanced. And a good course to pursue if your interests are in this space of how things are done. So I think it's a good option that people can look forward to. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Avdeshmukh again, because I think ITC as a vertical has so many sectors. Hospitality is just one of them, and we really thought that, a BBA in service sector would also open avenues in various sectors in companies like ITC and many companies, I think, have various verticals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All companies actually would benefit from somebody who has this sort of education.
Right. Yeah. And we're looking to begin with at least internship in all these sectors of our students, and then we can take it ahead after that. Right.
So are we, Deepak. We look forward to your students.
Yeah.
I think it's a joint responsibility of the industry and colleges like yours to groom the leaders of future.
Right. That is so well said. And this is a message which we want to give to all the students as well as prospective parents who will we will be uploading this tube on our website, is that a curriculum which blends management intricacies with real-time teaching in the service sector, such as the three sectors you all spoke about, I think will add value in building a generation who are better equipped to be able to work in the industry. Right? Is what we're looking at.
Absolutely.
Yes. And anything else, Arti ma'am, would you like to add before we give our vote of thanks?
We definitely would want to formally give you a short thank you note, but before that, I want to quickly say a big thank you to all three of you, especially because our curriculum, students, all of us here in academics need total support from you. So it's absolutely so heartening to have your support here today and in the future as well. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Chavi, Bhumika?
Yeah.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Director of SPPU School of Business, Dr. Pawar, and Head of Pumba, Dr. Jain, and all the faculty of the department, I take this opportunity to thank all our esteemed guests for taking out time from their busy schedule to be a part of this orientation program and guiding students for their future. A sincere thanks to all the attendees for their participation. We hope this webinar will help opening doors of opportunities for you. Before ending the session, we would like to leave you with a video testimonial from our students.
As we wait for the video, we'd like to share that there's a small video which is actually a testimony of our first graduating batch. They'll be graduating this year. They joined 2018 and in no time 3 years have passed. So this video is made by them talking about their experience as part of this course. So hope you all enjoy it. Hopefully the video comes on soon, Sanket.
Hope everyone is able to see this.
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, Sanket.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Greetings and welcome to Department of Management Sciences, Pumba, located in Savitribai Phule Pune University. We finished 50 years of leadership excellence and are celebrating our Golden Jubilee. A unique program commenced in 2018. It's a blend of business administration and management with intricacies of service management. Our students, other than academic rigor, have a plethora of curricular and co-curricular activity, exposure and stimulation with the industry and corporate exposure, which makes the life very vibrant for our students. Our outcomes of our course is that we want them not just to be corporate ready and holistic learning, but also venture out into innovation and entrepreneurship, and maybe at some point further studies. We welcome students from all streams to enter into our very vibrant department.
One of the key important things that we have is we try to form important linkages with the industry, in particular facilities, retail and hotels. We make sure that students get a lot of exposure by means of guest lectures, FAMs, visits that we conduct. Another important thing is that in the 3 years journey with us, we groom students in important life skills such as communication and personality development. To talk further, I'd like to give it up to our students who drive the entire department in various activities that they do.
After completing my 12th from CBSE Science, I found this course BBA in Hospitality and Facility Management. And I'm glad that I took this course because it really helped me develop my personality to pursue my future in management. We have students coming in from all streams like science, commerce, arts and vocation.
I have done my 12th from the commerce stream. One good thing about this course is that it gives us the opportunity to work in different sectors such as retail, facilities as well as the hospitality sector. We also attract different students from all over India as well as internationally.
All the cells in Pumba are student driven. Placement also one of the cell which is also student driven. Cell act as a interface between the corporates and the students and helps in maintaining and corporate relationships and nurturing them.
In Pumba, all cells are student-driven cells. So today, I am going to speak about communication cell. The student forum regularly uses social media as well as print media to communicate with all stakeholders to manage and promote Pumba brand. The correlated cell to communication cell is media cell, where the media team focuses mainly on student activity, creating content and framing it to appropriate audience. As we are BBA students, we also work with MBA students too.
I am a member of Seminar Cell BBHFM. As Seminar Cell is known as Face of Pumba, Seminar Cell takes care of all the guest lectures, industrial visits, seminars and webinars.
Entrepreneurship cell is a cell which motivates students by carrying out various entrepreneurial activities and events. The main objective is to develop and sustain platform that supports students in starting up their own business. Various activities organized by the entrepreneurship cell helps in honing and improving their skills and encouraging students in having an entrepreneurship mindset.
Cultural cell organizes cultural and social events which help students to showcase their skills and various abilities.
सुस्वागतम. मी प्रथमेश गुले, पुंबा BBHFM मधील एक कर्मचारी. माझा विद्यार्थ्यांची थेट आणि एक वेगळंच नातं असतं आणि त्यामुळे विद्यार्थ्यांना शिक्षणासोबत अजून काही गोष्टी शिकायला भेटतात. त्यामध्ये सर्वप्रथम आहे खेळ व दुसऱ्या काही ॲक्टिव्हिटीज. त्यामुळे विद्यार्थ्यांच्या मनाला वाव मिळतो व त्यांचे मन रमले जाते. जाताना एवढंच सांगतो की तुमची मी सर्वांची पुंबा BBHFM कोर्समध्ये येण्याची वाट पाहत आहोत. तर आपण भेटूयात लवकरच. धन्यवाद.
So guys, for more information, please visit our website www.pumba.in. Thank you.
Hope you all enjoyed the glimpse. Yes.
Yeah, very nice film.
Thank you. A very short film. I thought before our students, you always a little thing when they pass out the first batch. We look forward for a very strong liaison with all the three brands of corporate sector which you all represent, and of course the learning outcomes for students while getting you on board.
Great.
Thank you all very much for
Thank
this.
you.
The session.
Best wishes to all of you. Best wishes to your students.
Thank you so much.
Good luck
All
and
the
best
best to
wishes.
everybody.
We're all there to help.
Can
All there to help for anything, in future.
Yes.
as
Seeing
well.
you in the industry,
Good
absolutely.
luck.